Good evening, good evening, good evening. A little bit of a different intro there for you. That link that's posted right there in the chat is going to be for Black Dissident's YouTube channel. Y'all go check him out after this. Subscribe. We've got some of their subscribers coming over here, which is a good thing. They're on the same base plane that we are, you know, talking about weapons, proper weaponry and training. You know, that's kind of what we need to do. We need channels like that to be out there. People need to get the full scope of it. Let me bring old Demon in here. There we go. And Demon is in here. So,
hello, everybody.
What's up, brother? So, I was just introducing Black Dissident channel.
Temple.
Telling them to check him out. We've got some of his subscribers over here and everything like that, which is a good thing. That is a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't really know our channel per se, but
he will.
We're working to change all that, and he's got a lot of great information over here on his channel. Ranger J turned me onto his channel a little while back, and y'all go check him out. He's got all kinds of really good info and thoughts on different subjects.
Yeah, it's straightforward. It's not, you know, a bunch of decorative information. It's all just kind of right into the gut of things. It shows you the simple ways of it, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. A lot of people can overcomplicate things. I am guilty of that myself. You know, I tend to start talking about something, then I go into all the top of the line stuff, which I should not do. But, you know.
Well, and truly though, when you're in that field industry, like your interests lie there and things like that, or you have a more advanced knowledge of those kind of subjects, it's real easy to get off in the weeds when you're talking about that kind of stuff for folks that are introducing into them, you know. So I like the way he breaks stuff down for regular folks. You know, it's not like when you're watching somebody like Grantham or Travis Haley. You know, those guys are great for people who have a base of knowledge in those kind of subjects. I like his channel because it's just like, it's regular folks stuff.
Right, absolutely. We got a good amount of people here already tonight. That's what I'm talking about. Is everybody excited to talk about the Supreme Court of the United States tonight? Some of their judgments that they passed down, decisions, which actually went in the favor of 2A.
Well, not just 2A, but conservatives in general.
Right. And I mean, you know, they're doing what's supposed to be done, which is their job, and that's to adhere to the Constitution of the United States. And they're not being swayed by pressure so far. And we'll kind of lean into that, and we'll talk about the details of that situation. If I mess up the ruling name of it, y'all, it's just because I have a terrible memory with names. But yeah, poor Joe.
Let's do a shout out real quick. Who all we got in here tonight? I saw Chat, Chica, Patriot Nation. Who else we got? Was that Ozzy?
Saxman, yeah. Ozzy.
Appreciate y'all joining in. Highlander, how's it going, man?
Yeah. Look at that right there.
So
poor old Joe.
Yeah. Old Joe, he was on the television earlier pouting about decisions. It was beautiful.
Was he talking about the decision, or was he talking about that rocking chair toaster?
He was real disappointed about the opinions that had been released.
Well,
So I don't particularly care.
me either. You know, the thing is, y'all, is that decision does not affect most of us directly. Um, you know, it affects New York. That's what it was about,
Well,
New York.
but that's the
But
thing. That
how?
it doesn't just affect New York. The
Right, well,
decision, it was based in New York, but that decision, that opinion, sets precedents for 7 states total that have the same type of laws as New York. So
correct.
those opinions, right? Yeah, they were concentrated. That was the what Burger, Bruin, New York State rifle and pistol, the Bruin. Uh, so it was focused in New York. That's where it originated from, but it's going to affect California, Illinois, I think Rhode Island, and several other New England states who have extremely restrictive
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
it's a stepping stone, and I
carry
was kind
laws.
of, you know, rolling into that. Some of our other states, you know, we're not dealing with that.
Right.
And I'm not to say that it couldn't have gotten to that point, because if it would have went the other way, you know, several other states may have been, you know, your blue states. Now let's clarify that. Well, not really, because right now you got a shitload of rhinos, but you know, it could have been a stepping stone in the wrong direction.
Hmm.
So when I say it doesn't affect us directly, I mean it's frontline situation with New York, right? So this situation, if I remember it correctly, there were two guys that actually went against New York, if I'm correct. I
It
think
was
that's
well, kind of. It started out as 2 guys, but the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association picked up their lawsuit and kind of they they brought it out to a national level that just those 2 dudes likely would not have been able to.
right. And what New York was, what what was the situation, y'all, is you had to have permission per person with a viable reason that they determine is necessary for you to get a permit to carry a weapon, which is completely against the United States constitutional rights as Americans. So, and you know, we talk about the First Amendment, Second Amendment, you know, so on and so forth. So everybody has the First Amendment. The Second Amendment is to defend the First Amendment. Y'all with me?
Hmm.
So it's not weaker than the first one. It's not ordered that way. It's just is there for us to have leverage against a government or a tyrannical government. So that's what it's there for. And me, you know, they've got these red flag laws and all this stuff they're trying to implement. Some states already have that. I think North Carolina, right?
Uh, yeah, North Carolina's one.
So that's one of them. And the thing is, I'm a firm believer that if anybody is capable, not a murderous, you know, sow or some shit like that, everybody should be able to own a weapon if they choose to do so. I mean, that's my point.
Absolutely.
Some people don't agree with that, but the thing is, you know, when you start implementing all these gun laws, you're not hurting the criminals, guys. You're hurting the law-abiding citizens. So if criminals know they're going to get their guns regardless of what laws out there, I mean, they're already getting them with laws in place, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to have their weapons, and the people that do things correctly are not going to be able to get weapons. So then, therefore, there's not going to be any threat for them to break the law, because then they can just go willy nilly on any community that they want to. What's up, Emmanuel? So I seen your comment earlier, brother, on the YouTube page. Glad to have you. Glad to have you, brother.
How's it
So
going?
yeah, we got a good viewing going on tonight. So, and I mean that's kind of my thoughts on the situation. Is if you just start implementing all these laws and all this stuff that breaks down society's ability to protect themselves, then there's nothing to sway the criminals. So I mean, what are we to do? And I started. I don't know if y'all dug into it a little bit like I did, as far as some of the gun laws. They changed some of the verbiage on it, where like purchasing and selling of firearms. So pretty much, it would be illegal for anybody to sell a weapon for a profit, unless you are a licensed extremity of firearms. Yeah. Let's see what else got there. Hey, absolutely, absolutely, man. I'm with you, because when they outlaw the possession of weapons by the Gen Pop, then guess what? I become an outlaw. Sorry,
Right.
I cannot willingly sit by knowing that only people with evil contributions to society have weapons, and I can't defend my family, right, or friends. So, I mean, what's the point? I mean, there comes a time when you just have to make that decision, and my decision's already been made. I'm sure most of y'all's has been already as well. But what's up, Moose? So what you got there, Demon? I know I've been
Well, I was just reviewing some of the other. I say they're really not minor, because they're still they're major cases because they went in front of the Supreme Court. But I was looking at some of the ones that I hadn't paid as big of attention to. Like this case, Vega v. Takov. It's a fifth. It's a Fifth Amendment protection case. So I was trying to see basically what the decision was from the Ninth Circuit Court, because they reversed the decision of the Circuit Court. But basically what it said is that they tried to decide whether, in that particular case, they tried to decide whether the use of an unmirandized statement against a defendant in a criminal case is sufficient to support an action based on the Fifth Amendment violation. And the Ninth Circuit Court decided that using a unmirandized statement was insufficient to demonstrate a violation, and the Supreme Court reversed that ruling. So basically what happened, it's a case that started back in 2020, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
It may have been 2021. Back in January 2021, a hospital employee was accused of sexual assault. Cops showed up. They took the guy into an MRI room where they were conducting questioning, but he was not properly Mirandized before the questioning started. The guy admitted to what he did, but because he was unmirandized, they technically violated his Fifth Amendment right. The Ninth Circuit Court, now, say what you will about the guy's actions, the Ninth Circuit Court upheld that his statement being used against him in a criminal proceeding before he was Mirandized was not a violation of your Fifth Amendment right. And for those of us that are originalist constitutionalists, it pretty clearly is, regardless of his actions, the crime he was charged and convicted of. He confessed to it, His problem is that the Los Angeles County didn't read him his Miranda rights prior to taking his statement. And while the Ninth Circuit said that there was no Miranda violation, Supreme Court, it was a 6-3 decision. Supreme Court said that it was wrong, that it was absolutely a Fifth Amendment violation. So, kind of a big deal, because really what it's doing is holding police departments accountable, holding law enforcement officers accountable.
Right, and a lot of people don't even know that they hear I plead the fifth, but the details,
Right.
man, I'm gonna simplify it as clear as I can, y'all. So, what does it guarantee? It guarantees that an individual cannot self-incriminate themselves or be forced to divulge information that could result in that situation.
Right. So I guess what we'll do here's what we'll do. Well, I'll read you the verbiage of the Fifth Amendment. Amendment 5 says, "No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation." So basically, the Fifth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment is freedom from self-incrimination, freedom from double jeopardy, and freedom from seizure of private property without just compensation.
Correct.
Moose, that's not technically true. It's kind of, but basically, if you say I plead the fifth, or I am enacting my Fifth Amendment right, you don't have to answer a single thing past that. You ain't got to say another word. So, and generally speaking, lawyers will tell you, say that and then shut up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, guys, everybody forgets that they've had practice. Law courts, whatever, they've had practice at making you think that they're your friend, that they're there for you. Okay, no, they're there to do a job. I mean, and don't get me wrong, you have good law enforcement. Okay,
A lot more shitty law enforcement these days, though.
you have bad law enforcement. And we talked about it on the last video. Politicians, being corrupted by money. It's the same way on a local level. And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize the power that a sheriff has in a community.
He's the highest authority elected official in the land.
Correct. So
So
the mayor of your town has no jurisdiction over a sheriff whatsoever.
now, and to address Emmanuel, the dissenting opinions were the three liberal judges: Elena Kagan, Stephen Breyer, and Sonia Sotomayor. So yeah, big surprise there. So that was kind of like the first minor-ish case, if any could be considered minor. Still not a small thing, obviously. The next one that I was looking at was Nance v. Ward, which actually was a case that says that it concerns the procedure under federal law for a convicted inmate to challenge a state's method of execution, and it was actually held. It was held by the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision. So that kind of basically the case had to involve inmates arguing about whether they can request a different method of execution. For example, if you have a state like Utah that still has the firing squad, and that's the method of execution handed down by the judge of your trial, as an inmate, you have the right to request a different method of execution. So that's kind of what that case was about. Not really, in my opinion. Like, I don't really care. If you have done something bad enough, I personally am of the opinion if you've done something bad enough to end up on death row and you landed there by trial and jury of your peers, you have no right to request anything ever again. That's just my opinion, though.
Well, and I share that same opinion, but I think that the death sentence should be a little different. And we all know I've got a wicked mind, right? So, however that person dealt that murder should be how they
You put to death the same way that they killed somebody.
correct.
I'll say it plain so that everybody can understand it.
So let's take Bin Laden, for instance, right? He should have been smacked in the face by a damn Airbus. You know what I'm saying? Just say,
Build a giant concrete wall, strap him to the front of a Cessna. Let me see what else we have.
there was another ruling that people's not paying attention. I'm trying to find it, and it went 6-3 as well.
Probably you talking about Berger v. North Carolina, state conference at NAACP, the voter ID.
Nope, I'm talking more about the tuition aid program, that how they were trying to exclude certain schools from it.
Oh, the religious institutions.
Right. So they ruled against that, which is a good thing, right? Because they were trying to segregate, certain schools that could get, tuition aid depending on certain stature of the schools, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. If it's a funded school, period, it should get tuition aid. Period. Point blank.
Mm-hmm. That case was based on a Missouri church. Let me see if I can find a better article. It was based on a Missouri church that had a private school in it, that they were trying to say this that they couldn't receive state monies with secular intent. How does it read? Judges they ruled that a Missouri church cannot be excluded from a state program with a secular intent. So basically, it boiled down to tuition assistance programs for charter schools, private schools, stuff like that. That churches who held like a school on the church grounds, that school section of that church cannot be excluded from that state money just because it's on church grounds. So I thought that was a pretty important case to look at too.
Well, and I mean, we got to think, and y'all hear me say this all the time. We got to get back to base level, right? And base level is our children. That's the future that's going to uphold America for us, in several generations. So the little small things like that, in my personal opinion, they matter. They matter just as much as just gun laws, because.
Right. Well, the whole argument, right, was the biggest argument against it was, it's separation of church and state. That, if you give the church state money, you're removing separation of church and state. But it doesn't apply in this particular instance because the state is not sponsoring a church, right? It's not saying this is the official religion or the official church of our state. Right. That money's those monies are to be distributed on the basis of an education system, an educational facility. Not it's a school that happens to share property with the same property as a church building.
Right.
Not, oh, that money's getting sent to the church. Maybe, but it's being given to the church for the purpose of running the school and helping students who otherwise would not be able to attend that school to attend that school. It's not.
Well,
So the basis of separation of church and state that the argument was being made on was invalid to begin with.
right, and they shouldn't be able to determine, to that stringent of an idea as to what a school system does with the fundings. If it's on a church ground and they have to pay rent on a church ground, whatever, it doesn't matter. If they have to pay the light
Right.
bill, it's part of it. There's several educational buildings in America that are in rental areas, where they have
Yeah.
to pay people, and that's just the way it is. They need to just, kind of leave it alone, which they did.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Now, those of you that hadn't kept up with it today, that's what we're here for. All victories today on all the decisions that they did. What they did, nine decisions today.
I don't. Hold on.
I think it was 9.
Today itself. Now this week it's been, I think, 9. Today itself there was only 4 or 5.
Right.
There was 5 today. 1, 2, 3, 4. There was 4 decisions today, but 2 of them were massive decisions.
Yes, absolutely.
The biggest 2 we haven't even gotten to yet, and we're about to talk about those. But there's been decisions. So in case anybody doesn't know, procedurally speaking, the Supreme Court, before today, actually, it just changed today. Procedurally speaking, Supreme Court has always announced opinions on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's been while they've been in session. Those have been the days that announcements of opinions have been made. It changed today, actually, that the Supreme Court will be adding Fridays to that as well. And I have an opinion on that as to why that happened. And it has to do with the Roe v. Wade case. But so that's changed today. So we can look tomorrow to expect more opinions, because they still have like another 12 or 13 cases that they are expected to announce opinions on before the end of this session. So the Roe v. Wade one obviously is the one that everyone's been kind of sitting back with bated breath to hear on, and we'll speak a little further on that as we go. But that is a procedural change that has been made in the Supreme Court today. Gun rights cases, the only gun rights case that the Supreme Court was currently hearing was New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin. But the other big case was Berger v. North Carolina State Conferences of the NAACP. I realize, most people don't know them by the actual court case names, but the Berger case was the voter ID case. Basically, the North Carolina State Conference of the NAACP sued, saying that voter ID laws were racist and discriminatory, blah, 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 blah. And the court announced their opinion today that voter ID laws were in fact not racist, and states had the right to enforce them should they choose to, which obviously is a massive win for the GOP, for conservatives, for constitutionalists in this country. You can't just show up and claim to be someone and be allowed to vote. Now the problem still lies with states like New York, where you can be an illegal and still get a government ID, right? So there's New York, California. There's several quote unquote sanctuary states and cities that will issue you a government ID even if you're an illegal. So it's a step in the right direction. This idea that, oh, black people don't know how to go get IDs, black people don't know how to use the internet to get an ID. There's not DMVs. Is in those are ideas that are in fact rooted in ignorant racism. And what conservatives have been arguing this whole time is that going to get an ID is as easy as going to get a haircut. Period.
I mean, and it is, and a lot of places you can get them for free.
Yeah, they have reduced. If you have low income, they have reduced rates for purchasing them. There's a lot of states now are where you can apply for a state ID over the internet. So there's a whole crap load of options and availability as far as that goes. Basically, what it boiled down to was Democrats. I mean, Democrats are saying, "Hey, black people are too stupid to get on the internet to get an ID," or ignorant shit like that. So they're afraid. What they're really afraid of is losing their grip. They're losing their grip on the poor, losing the grip on black neighborhoods, and losing their grip and ability to be able to control folks. That's what that whole case boiled down to. It boiled down to being able to control elections.
Yeah, if y'all hadn't noticed, usually the governors and senators, the ones that lost, they're the ones that want voter ID laws going away, right? So they want everybody to not have to show an ID. So I can show up, under their ruling or crazy ass ways of thinking. I can just show up somewhere and say, hey, my name's Ben Affleck. I want to vote, or just anything. I could just come up there with a crazy ass name, be like, oh, you know what? I don't remember my name. Just pick one off the Rolex. I'll take that one. So why the hell would you not have an ID? You had to have an ID to get there, didn't you? You got to have an ID to go purchase tobacco products, alcoholic beverages. You have to have an ID to go to your local Walgreens or Rite Aid to pick up your prescriptions.
So originally the circuit court said that voter ID laws were the Fourth Circuit Court in North Carolina said that voter ID laws are racist, right? That was the thing. Interestingly, the Supreme Court, as they reversed that decision, it was an 8-1 decision, almost a unanimous vote. Unsurprisingly, the only dissenting opinion was Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Big surprise there. But it was an 8-1 decision, which totally surprised me. I expected it to be a 6-3 decision. So, I gotta give props where it's due. The two liberal judges did their job.
Well, I mean, it's got to flow like that. If they can get it to continue to flow like that, then we'll be fine. Now, April D. Let's see. Stacey Abrams got 100% of the Dem vote for Georgia, from what I see. So we're talking Chatham County and what's that other one up there?
She bought all their votes.
There's no way she got 100% of it. Yeah, there's no way. No way.
So that was kind of that was a big case. Um, and that was the case that was heard while Justice Thomas was in the hospital. So I was, like I said, I was really surprised by the who voted which way. I would have expected a 6-3 split court on that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the consensus on their votes so far, 6-3. That's a common sway of it, but
Right. So yeah, it's been pretty much party line, political ideology based for at least some of them. So that was a big deal. Another huge win for constitutionalists, and obviously, in my opinion, for conservatives. And then we'll talk about the elephant in the room, right? That's the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin. What's been incredible about that case, right, is so that case doesn't just affect New York. It affects 7 states total, I think it was, because there are 43 that I know of. I'm fairly certain there are 43 shall issue states. Right, which basically means there are 43 states that will issue you a license to conceal carry without proof of special circumstance. So may issue is the other type, and that's going to be New York. New York is the primary focus, but also California. Who else? New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, Massachusetts, California, and Hawaii. Those are the may issue states.
Emmanuel's
and
on it.
in this ruling,
Emmanuel's on it. There's the list.
Yeah, nailed it. So those are the may issue states. Those are the states where you have to prove. And even then, New York, you can actually divide New York and New York City separately. Yeah, Emmanuel, I was actually just looking at the USCCA website. New York City has different restrictions than New York State. So you can actually split those in two, but they're both pretty equally restrictive. So what the decision basically said was that New York State's laws, which have been in place since 1913, right, are in violation of people's Second and 14th Amendments. So what it says, let me bring up this article real quick. See if I can find a easy wrap up brief of it.
We just spilling a little bit, y'all, and then we're going to our normal rants for the channel.
Talk a little bit while I look this up.
I'm just reading Emmanuel's comment. In Florida, it ran like $30. Yeah,
Well, and
ours ran on a 5 year spat. And then if you needed to change your address or whatever the case may be, it was $5 to get it changed over.
well,
You
and
didn't.
in Florida, you got DeSantis. Florida's got DeSantis pushing for constitutional carry too.
That'll happen. That's going to go through 100%. That's pretty sporty, man. They let you take your own picture and do it online. Hey, that's nice.
I'm on one of these liberal rags. It's great. They're so butthurt about these decisions. It's a website called Crooks and Liars. Says today's awful SCOTUS rulings don't even include abortion.
That's because it's coming tomorrow.
So it says, here's what it says. I love it. The terrible, awful, no good SCOTUS decisions for today and Ellie Mistel's reaction to them. And we have to wait for Dobbs. Ugh. So obviously we talked about Berger. Nance v. Ward was the death penalty case, was the mechanism of death.
Yeah, and then we talked about this.
Here we go. Guns for everybody, says the High Court. It's so fucking ridiculous. Excuse my French, but here's the thing: the New York didn't say the 2A case didn't say that states have to allow constitutional carry. It upholds that people have the right to carry outside of their home. It upholds the idea that states shall issue without proof of special circumstance. That's all it says. They can still impose fines for licensing. They can still require a license. But they are not allowed to require a burden of proof. And the big deal, especially with states like New York and California, is in LA County, for example, or New York City, about the only way that you're getting a license. Well, Emmanuel, that's why I said you can kind of split New York and New York City in two. Right, basically the only way in Los Angeles County, New York City, you're going to get a license to carry is if you're rich and famous. So that's where kind of the 14th Amendment violation comes in too. Is they're saying that those gun laws are discriminatory. Basically, they're discriminatory in the enacting of the Second Amendment. Basically, they're saying New York's gun laws make it so that only rich and famous people can have guns. So,
well, let's think about this a minute. And I'm all about going back to old history now. So the situation that happened in Buffalo, terrible.
Emmanuel, yes, AOC came out and said gun control was racist. The funny thing is, she doesn't actually realize that she's actually right on that one. 100% right. The purpose of gun control started back post to keep poor black folks from being able to arm themselves.
And that's wrong. Every like I said earlier, every citizen, should have one or have the right.
Absolutely.
At least to start with. I mean,
I'm a firm believer that they all should have one.
Well, let's revert back to this Buffalo situation, right? So that was a tragic event. Everybody agrees on that. That's terrible. Okay?
Yeah.
Would the outcome have been different if those people were permitted to carry?
I believe that the outcome would have been lessened, perhaps. people still would have died.
Right, but it would have been different.
Absolutely. The people outside probably would have died, but that dude wouldn't have been able to surrender to the police. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you want to spend the last 19 minutes talking about a touchy subject?
Sure.
So here we go.
Send it. What are we talking about?
We're going to talk about Supreme Court justice still, but we're going to talk about, now on Fridays they can roll out rulings.
Oh, yeah.
So myself and Demon, we were backstage kind of discussing this preemptive, right? And I'm pretty sure everybody here is.
Ozzy, we'll get to that here in just a minute.
So here's our thoughts on it. So we're thinking that they added that because it would not be a good idea to deliver the Roe v. Wade decision on a Thursday. When would you want to deliver that? Let's see. On a Friday, right? End of day Friday. That way the Supreme Court is out of there in a protected area. Why do they need to be in a protected area? Well, there's a shitstorm coming, y'all. Once they deliver this decision, which it's already leaked out which direction it's going to go. There's going to be complete chaos in the streets. I mean, there's already chaos. There's already protests, on the Supreme Court justices' front lawns, which is illegal, by the way. That is a felony. For those of you that don't know that, that is definitely a felony. You cannot influence or threaten anybody of a court system. Now, so if they deliver that on Friday, y'all be prepared for a really news-filled weekend. So once they deliver that, it is what it is. I don't believe in abortion. Many people don't. But here's the question that you can ask someone, if they come out and say, well, it should be my right. It's my right, my choice, my body, my choice. Okay. Well, can a man make the decision not to pay child support for 18 years?
Nope.
They don't get that decision, right? So it's a joint activity to have a baby until decisions like that are made. So here's what I'm thinking. If a woman doesn't want the child, right, then when everything's said and done and there's a delivery, then give the child to the father. It's just that simple. But here's a bad thing. A lot of the fathers out there, unfortunately, y'all, I am a father. I have been with my wife and my children throughout their entire life. Okay. A lot of fathers are just, they can't be with them for some reason, or they don't want to be. Either way, that's terrible. So it is a bad situation. It's not the child's fault. And I have to kind of go back religion. If something's created, there's a reason. All right. So y'all be prepared for, just like Ozzy said, peaceful protest all weekend. If that decision is delivered, it's going to be pandemonium, just chaos.
Yeah, there will be violence and death in the streets of Washington, D.C. this weekend, even more than on Juneteenth weekend. That is my prediction. I don't want it to be true, but the fact of the matter is that these nut job radical leftists have already threatened and said, we're going to commit acts of terror against you should you overturn Roe v. Wade. So keep that in mind, folks. I wouldn't be surprised to see.
Well, I mean, they're already burning down, damaging clinics.
Well, yeah, they've firebombed in the last month. They've firebombed something like 20 different pregnancy centers and pro-life centers.
Yeah, so y'all, you just wait. Yeah, you think all these other riots was crazy? Yeah, man, you get a lot of pissed off women and a bunch of beta males together. Holy hell!
Right.
I mean, and
So
it's easy to spot a beta male, y'all. If you've never seen one, they're kind of anorexic looking, dark around the eyes, probably wearing skinny jeans or capris, and they probably have on like some multicolored Dockers or some shit. But they're easy to spot. They're easy to spot. So you'll see them on the news. Look for the soy face.
yeah. So in regards to the 1,000% tax, um, I'm fairly certain that there's a law somewhere that says that it's illegal to levy a tax as a punishment.
Or on a specific item.
Right. Well, then you can levy tax on a type of goods, but it's something about there's a limit on the tax. Something that has to do. I can't quote you the exact law or uh, case decision or anything like that, but I there's a specific law out there, and maybe somebody might be able to do a little Google searching or something and find it that says that levying a tax high enough to cause basically for regular folks to be able to afford something is illegal. I wish I was better at searching that kind of stuff because I have a whole lot of crap that rolls around in my brain, and half the time I can't source it offhand. But I'm not concerned with that 1,000% tax, quite frankly, because ultimately you can use the same argument on that 1,000% tax as was set as precedent today in the Supreme Court opinion. It's a violation of the 14th and, 15th, and Second Amendments, right? 14th Amendment says along the lines of it has to do with the aspects of citizenships and rights of citizens. Specifically, it says equal protection of the laws. So a lot of the times you see it in civil rights cases, like Brown v. Board of Education and stuff like that. Roe v. Wade, it's actually been used. You would be able to apply that here in that arguing that the average person wouldn't. So, see, this is my ADD. Emmanuel, that's not legal either. There's legal precedent set for doing something like that. Long and short of it, though, the 14th Amendment says that you can't enact things that would be discriminatory against people. So, in the example of 1,000% tax, right? If you had 1,000% tax on a $500 rifle, all of a sudden that $500 rifle is going to cost people, $6,000.
Yeah, $5,500.
And the fact of the matter is for the vast majority of people these days, that's unattainable. Therefore, that tax is discriminatory in the same way that New York's gun laws were held as unconstitutional. The argument would more than likely be made, especially by Gun Owners of America, USCCA, any number of 2A advocacy groups. They would make that same argument. It's a violation of your 14th Amendment and Second Amendment rights because it's discriminatory and punitive in nature. And that's really kind of no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Those all kind of roll into that. So I'm not too personally not too worried about this proposed 1,000% tax. I will say this, and no, this is not me making like threats or any stupid shit like that. But the people that are supporting that, your career is probably done. So, just like I'll say that the 14 Republicans that are supporting this bipartisan, safer gun control act, you're done. You're absolutely done. So that's all I got about that 1,000% tax. They can talk all they want, but the fact of the matter is, it's an unconstitutional law as I see it, and I'm a pretty regular dude. If I can tell it's unconstitutional, it's probably fucking unconstitutional. And laws that violate the Constitution are null and void. Simple as that.
Well, so, here's the thing: you can give away as many guns as you want. You get what I'm saying? Legally.
Yes and no. And so here's the thing, right? With that whole $900 ham sandwich and give a wife away with it, that it kind of falls under a intent to sell or selling without a proper licensure. So that's now if you did like a raffle type of thing, that's a whole different.
Well, a raffle, the only way you can do a raffle for a gun is if you're a nonprofit or tax exempt.
Right.
And you got to get
a permit. A whole other thing, which most campaigns are not for profits. A lot of them these days are filing 501c3s. But it's the long and short of it is that it's illegal.
Right. Well, you got to you can check your state laws. Because I know,
regardless of state laws, federally speaking, it's illegal.
Yeah, but like South Carolina, I think Florida, Georgia, Alabama, you can actually gift a gun.
Yeah, absolutely, you can.
And they don't have to be related to you.
No. There's things that you could do, but the issue here's the issue, right? The problem with that 1,000% tax is they're not issuing that tax as a tax against individuals. That's the thing. They are taxing the manufacturers.
Right. And then so, at that point we have
from there it's trickle down effect.
Right. And you'll have weapon inflation, which we already had.
Right.
Ammunition and weaponry now is just kind of getting back in the ballpark.
So yes, it's a trickle down to the individual consumer not being able to afford it, but it's not because that tax is being levied against the individual consumer, the individual end product. That tax is going to be built into the cost to the individual consumer because the tax is to be levied against the manufacturer when they sell to the various FFLs. So that's the whole thing of it is even if somebody said, oh, sell a sandwich and give them a gun, you're still going to have to, hey, I need you to buy this sandwich for $4,000. Yeah, wow. Moose, that is 100% a straw purchase. And absolutely is a felony. You can't trade a donation for a gun. That's considered a straw purchase.
Right. Well, here is the federal law in the United States.
Well, see, that's the thing, Emmanuel. That 1,000% tax, law enforcement and federal agencies are exempt from it.
Right.
So it's only for non-government contract firearms. Just as an example, a lot of people don't realize when a law enforcement agency, say, Ogden, Utah Police Department, when they want to purchase new patrol rifles for their officers, they don't go to Jim Bob's gun store in Layton, Utah,
Correct.
and say, "Hey, I want to buy 45 rifles from you." They say, "Hey, Colt, I want to make a bulk purchase as a government agency at a discounted rate." They don't go to the local gun store and buy their shit. They go straight to the manufacturers. And that 1,000% tax, part of that says that law enforcement, federal government agencies are exempt from that tax. So while you might want to go buy like a Colt LE 6920, right? Decent rifle, about $1,000 currently. 1,000% tax on that gun would then make it a $10,000 rifle. But a police department is still getting that gun for $700.
Right. No taxes.
And I agree, Emmanuel. I don't think that major gun companies, are not going to not sell to them. Colt, Smith & Wesson, FN, those companies are all going to continue to sell to government agencies. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sink or swim situation. I mean, all your top brands, like the ones you just named, I mean, 80% of their funding come from federal entities. So,
right, or government contracts.
Right. So, it's kind of it's a tough situation. It is.
The only way, if they were to impose that tax, right, the quickest way to affect change would be for every person in the country to quit paying their income tax. Don't pay to register your vehicle. All of those things are taxes, right? The only way that you're going to make them up there understand is by hitting that paper, hitting them in the pocketbook. You want to impose a tax on me? That's cool. I'll just quit paying my federal income tax. Let me go amend my W-2, my W-4, so that I don't pay it, so none of my taxes get taken out. I'll do as many deductions as I can to minimize the taxes coming out of my check, and then just not pay. There's something like 3,000 federal IRS agents in the country. They can't arrest everybody.
But all of them just purchased a shitload of guns.
Yeah, well, you're right, but there's already something like 20 million guns, or no, I can't remember what the number of it was. More than 1 trillion rounds of ammunition, and how many millions of guns?
Well, it's over 300 million guns, firearms.
300 million firearms and over 1 trillion rounds of ammunition.
That's registered weapons now. We're talking
in civilian hands.
Yeah, pre-1889, right?
So yeah, they bought all those guns and ammo. We already have those.
What's up, Jay?
What's going on, sir? How you
Hola,
doing?
jefe.
¿Cómo está?
Louis B. N. E2.
Yeah, chips and salsa.
I like how you keep jumping in on the end of shit.
No shit.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what. I had a good evening.
Better late than never, I guess. Jeez.
I had some beers and some food with some coworkers. One of them is relocating to another area.
And we lost him.
He gone.
It's pretty bueno.
Oh.
Well, good. I'm glad you had a good evening, man. It's always good to get out with folks, kick back, and just have a good time and some fellowship with people.
Well, let some hair down, since I get long hair and all,
Yeah, looking like a regular hippie over there. You gonna start hugging trees?
I know. Yeah, I got my mullet and all.
It ain't gonna be long before you start hugging trees, huh?
Wait, I
What?
haven't been hugging trees before.
Well,
What?
technically,
Well, so
Hey,
Crazy
dude,
Joe,
hey, look,
here's what we've been kind
I
of.
got my box in today.
You got your box,
I just got my box in today. Yeah,
okay?
13, 13 XD magazines.
Oh, nice. So, how many are you gonna send me?
2.
That's bug as hell.
Oh, okay, I might send you
Anyway,
3. What?
so
I paid
here's what we,
11.99. 11.99 per magazine. I tell you what, that's pretty bueno.
look. Hey,
I'm
if you
pretty
send
stoked.
me, tell you what, if you send me 2, I'll send you half of a chest rig. How about that?
Okay, I'll send you 4.
We're close.
Hey, I get a full chest rig at this point. I mean, come on.
Eh, you'll get most of the chest rig. I'll send you the chest rig minus the H harness.
Hey, if it doesn't come with candy bars, no deal.
Oh, I was pissed. It didn't come with candy bars.
Hey, it showed it in the fucking picture. I
I'm
was
gonna I'm gonna get on Amazon and leave a bad review. This shit did not come with a Snickers, bitch. Where's my Snickers? It only took 2 weeks and covering the entire western half of the United States for it to get to me.
I know. I mean, shoot.
So
Well, you did buy one get one free though.
I did. Fuck them. I
You
said
did.
what I said, Jeff Bezos. Kiss my
Yeah.
ass. Look, I'm amazed that it made it out of California at all. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, as you see by the title, man, we've been kind of talking about the rulings the opinions that dropped today, and one particularly that I don't think was on anybody's radar for the most part on the Fifth Amendment.
I did not see SCOTUS rulings today. I did not hear anything about it. I've been out of cell service all day. So, what happened?
Jesus, snark, snark.
Fuck you,
Well,
Vanguard.
you just have to hit rewind, man. You got
tell you what, hey, look, there's this real neat invention called a computer, and on that computer you can go to any search engine but google.com and look those up there, buddy. In fact, you can go to scotusblog.com or .gov and see what dropped. But
Okay, you're getting 3 magazines now.
long and short, we obviously have the 2A one, that everybody knew about. There was a Fifth Amendment case that got decided that basically said that pre-Mirandized statements cannot be used in criminal proceedings.
Okay.
There was a case that said that inmates have the right to request a different death penalty.
Huh.
And then there was the shit. What was the other one? Wow, my brain just went fucking slack, dude.
Well, that's nothing new.
Shut up. You're not wrong, but also shut up. Nance v. Ward. That was which was the Nance case? Oh, that was Nance v. Ward was method of execution under the Eighth Amendment. There was New York State and Rifle. Oh, voter ID.
Okay.
Which voter ID actually kind of shook me a little bit because it was an 8-1 decision. The only dissenting justice on the voter ID case was Sotomayor.
Okay.
So, yeah, obviously some pretty big cases. Conservatives and constitutionalists have won big in Supreme Court this week.
Sweet.
So, several were 6-3 decisions.
Okay.
But there were some that pulled liberal votes that I wasn't expecting. So that's kind of the what has been the discussion for the evening.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, we need a win at this point. We literally need wins because I mean we're about like a whipped dog at this point.
Well,
And
yeah, what
and
you're seeing in this country is conservatives have been losing in the court of social justice or whatever the hell you want to call it.
and it's a
The
crime.
court, the court of social opinion. Conservatives have been getting bent over the fence.
And
So
we follow the Constitution, and they swore an oath to follow the Constitution, and they just piss on it.
Well, here's the
And that's
thing.
what kills me.
Well,
Like
here's the
Bitch
thing.
McConnell and Lindsey Graham
yeah,
and a lot of those, and it really bothers me because we vote these people in, they swear an oath to the Constitution, uphold and defend it, and
and then
then
immediately violate their oath.
they turn their back on it and piss all over it. So that's my rant for the night. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
Well, here's the thing. There was a cheat list that was written for all of this in the great year of 1787, September 17th, right?
Yeah.
It's called the Constitution, and it was written by some pretty intelligent people, and it laid the law out for forever. I mean, they should just go by that, and everything will be cool. Everything is
Right.
copacetic.
Right, should be anyway.
Should.
But people gotta do everything they can in the pursuit of power, right?
Yeah.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we what we banged on tonight. Throwing out and also something else actually interesting happened today for the first time in Supreme Court history. The Supreme Court has added Fridays to opinion announcement days for the first time ever. Historically, it's been Tuesdays and Thursdays where opinions are announced. Today, they added Fridays, and me and Vanguard had an opinion on that, and it basically boils down to they added Fridays so that they can announce the opinion for the Roe v. Wade case tomorrow afternoon. They can drop the opinion and get the hell out of Dodge for the weekend. Because you and I both know, as soon as they drop opinion on the abortion case, Washington, D.C. will burn to the ground.
Hey, you know what? It won't be us.
Doesn't matter. They'll still blame it on us. It'll be us without being us.
Right. Well, good luck trying that out because, I mean, I got witnesses to say where I was.
Right.
So, I mean.
But, that was the kind of where we were at the time. It'll be a mostly peaceful protest. Right. Don't worry about those fires. Oh, those fires are just so that people can see at night because the streetlights aren't working. Don't worry about that.
Oh no! And $10 a gallon for gas. Yeah. You can't buy a steak anymore. Go buy your bug burger.
The DC Metro Police Department needed new patrol cars anyway.
It's okay. They'll be on fire here pretty soon anyway.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They were just using them as mobile torch things.
See, what they'll do is they'll take all their old fleet and stick them out there and burn them up so they can get new ones. What?
Nothing. You'll get it when you see it. That's exactly what's going to happen this weekend. Watch tomorrow afternoon. If you were to go look at the live stream traffic cameras in DC tomorrow afternoon, what you're going to see is a bunch of like 2000s Chevy Malibus and Ford Tauruses out there patrolling DC tomorrow. They're not going to have their nice new shit out there. So, yeah, I protest. I what is it? Prophesy? Not prophesy. Shit. Anyway, that's my prediction. There we go. I predict that DC is going to burn down. Deploy the National Guard again. What you mean? They didn't deploy the National Guard in the first quote unquote insurrection, so they'll definitely not deploy it this time. Antifa and Planned Parenthood's going to be out there with hot pockets and dead fetuses, crying,
throwing soup cans.
It's terrible to murder, except for when I want to do it.
Exactly.
So, it's going to be spicy, and I would say not just in DC. I expect New York City, Hotlanta, probably. What's that weird ass place down there in Texas that's got all the liberals? Austin.
There and Dallas.
Yeah, but more so in look, Dallas has got a mixture of liberal hippies and ranchers. So, yeah, Minneapolis will probably be burning. Portland, I'm sure, will be on fire. I especially want to throw out, hey, Chica, stay safe this weekend. Like, no shit.
True story.
Out there in Cali.
Y'all don't worry about Chicago. It'll be business as usual.
Yeah.
Right, they're gonna have their weekly mass shootings. It's not gonna look any different in Chicago than it normally does.
Right.
So,
who cares about Chicago
here.
anyway?
Minneapolis,
Miami.
Maybe I doubt Miami though.
What's Miami?
I don't know, man. That's where a lot of your leftists go to hang out, man.
Yeah, but
Snowbirds go down to Florida.
we pretty quickly convert them dumbasses whenever they come down.
Hey, Vanguard's got a third home down there.
Sure.
So that's kind of my prediction is you're going to see a smattering of unjustified peaceful protests all over the country this weekend.
Smattering.
A smattering.
Yeah.
Trying to class this joint up a little bit.
Sure.
Emmanuel, I'm not gonna reveal that. There's just I'm not scared if somebody finds me, but I'm not gonna encourage that situation. I will say for a fact, no, I'm not in Florida.
Alabama.
Hey, Alabama don't have to have voter ID laws because they all have their name on their belt.
Yeah.
Well, and it's all the same last name. Ain't nobody around here fucking my sister but me.
Oh my God.
Hey, if she ain't good enough for your family, she ain't good enough for ours.
That's right.
That's how they do it in Georgia, though.
Yeah, that's like Eccles County, Georgia, though. There's only like 3 last names in that whole county. And I ain't kidding.
Family tree's like a phone pole.
Yep.
Alabama equals shared DNA.
Shared DNA and sharing DNA.
Constantly sharing DNA.
They got 17 teeth in the entire state.
And they're in their pocket.
We only put them in whenever it's time to eat barbecue or something. But yeah, so that's kind of where there's your rough 12-cent overview. That's
Nice.
the penny show for the nickel price.
Hell yeah. All right, well, Jay, being you're here, Jay, why don't you give us some words of wisdom before we cut this thing off?
Well, just about like every other night that I show up, carry always, watch your six, like, subscribe. Sorry, I've had more than a couple beers tonight.
Yeah, we can tell.
Yeah, my mouth is a little dry. Like, subscribe, go to the website. If you like us here, you're gonna like our crew. I mean, we're like we're like this almost every night. We're like a family. If you like that family environment, come check us out. If not, then well, you're missing out. So I'm done.
That's good.
Anything else I say can and will be used against me.
Demon?
First off, I want to say you're an asshole.
I am. Oh,
Not you, Vanguard.
Oh.
Vanguard is an asshole. But no, in all seriousness, though, I'm going to steal some lines from Absentee since he typically joins us but was unable this evening. Stay safe, carry always, keep your head on a swivel, and God save the Republic.
Is that better, Demon?
Says the same thing.
How about mine?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, wholly appropriate. All right, it's your turn, asshole.
Okay. All right. So just having a little fun as usual. Everybody that's new on here tonight, thank y'all for stopping by. Share it. Let's get some more people over here. Let's get the truth out. We have no filters over here, as you can tell. Y'all check out Evolution Vanguard 1776.com. That is a free social media platform delivered for your entertainment. You can also get on there and kind of mingle with other like-minded people. The Cash App's rolling through. There's my personal email if y'all need to contact me on a sidebar for information or anything like that. Thank y'all for stopping by. Enjoyed it. Y'all have a good night. Take care. Deuces.